We are the Institute for Intuitive Intelligence, revolutionizing intuition by training spiritually fierce women globally as qualified intuitive guides. Subscribe for the leading research and teachings on the conversation of intuition development.
Hello. Happy solstice, happy Yule. I am happy to be here with you. A few tech troubles getting live today, but I think we're good. All right, I'm just gonna take a moment, let anyone who's gonna come on live. I know it's an awkward time, middle of the night in Australia, and maybe some of my US and European friends will join. All right. My name is Elisha Halpin, and I am a priestess for visionaries and a soul mentor for sacred leaders. And I want to share with you my story about how I came to understand a key ingredient around sacred leadership being the embodiment of your truth. Now, I have been loquacious and verbal and outspoken since I was little, and I often was told that was part of my leadership gift, right? That I could speak my mind, and I spoke up, and I talked about things. And for me, I felt that that was important as a leader, right? That I could speak and convince people of things and get my point across. And then all of that kind of came crashing down, and I really understood a deeper aspect of leadership. All of this kind of transpires in my journey from what I would call my mainstream leadership, my academic administration leadership, into sacred leadership. And it's at the beginning of a semester, and my prayer that semester as I began this new 15-week journey was, let me show up fully as myself in every place. Let me show up fully as myself in every place. I felt like the year before I was straddling these lines between my priestess self and my academic self. And here now I wanted to really bring all of myself together, so that whether I was priestessing or administering or teaching in the classroom, right, that I had all of these parts. That was my prayer. And I don't know about you, but I love how prayers get answered in ways that we would not expect, ways that our ego just is not, right? Like, it's not what we would have said we wanted. My prayer is uttered, and a month, maybe not even a full month into the semester, I am on retreat for a weekend, and phone rings early in the morning, and it's the office at my school, and I pick up the phone because they don't normally call me anyway, but like, okay, what's going on? And the receptionist says, have you seen it? I said, have I seen what? Have you seen the paper? No, I'm out of town for the weekend, remember? And she said, no, not the college paper, the national paper. She shoots me over a link, and I open up an article that is full of slander and lies, and these are the same attacks I had been enduring for 4 years now from a former colleague who was now suing the university, and I was one of the main objects of her hatred. And I'm reading this article, and I'm feeling these waves of shame and uncertainty and just this complete kind of shattering of what I had thought was my way of proceeding inside of this scenario. And I just am sitting with these waves and waves of heat moving through my body. And I feel devastated. What are people going to think of me? How will I be able to lead and administer and guide and teach if people believe these things about me? These things that are not true. these horrible, awful things. Why would someone say this? Why would someone do this? And then I remembered my prayer. Let me show up fully as myself in every place. And so I began to meet that shame, that fear of what others would think of me, that worry of strangers, that worry of friends and colleagues. And I asked myself, am I willing to be who I am? Am I willing to be the truth of who I am, even if no one else believed it? Even if I am never asked to give my side of the story? Even if no one wants to know how I feel or think? Can I be solid in my truth? Can I hold it? And I thought, well, there is my initiation. That is my initiation into standing as a sacred leader, no matter what is going on outside of me, no matter what others are thinking of me, no matter what someone else would say. Will I be inside of my own truth? And as I let myself not just make that how I would act, right? But actually the place that I would inhabit, so that I wouldn't spiral out and I wouldn't be going to my friends and my other colleagues and saying, do you believe it? Have you heard? Did you see? I wouldn't go into gossip mode. I wouldn't need to counterattack, right? Could I just be in my own strength? And now there's a whole part of this story that goes down the 3D aspect of never really going anywhere, right? It just being that kind of moment. But I think what's more important for sacred leaders and what was so important for my own initiation was not, am I gonna get the external outcome that I want? Is this gonna be easier on me? Or am I gonna get that satisfaction from other people understanding? For me, this initiation into embodying my truth became a key ingredient of my sacred leadership, because it meant I understood how to inhabit my own holy ground. I love the quote, I'm gonna kind of mess it up, but it says something about like, don't worry about making waves. The moon does it all the time. And I think that in our old structure of leadership, which was what I was inhabiting before, was this way of thinking that to make waves, I had to do these things and I had to convince and I had to have agendas. And in this destroying of that, I had the opportunity to understand that the impact that I want to make comes from me being inside my own strength and my own truth, inhabiting my own holy ground, and letting that make the waves as they do, not by convincing people. There's a beautiful story about the goddess Rhiannon. I believe it's Rhiannon. Now I'm questioning the name, but the story is that she's accused of murdering her own son, her own baby. And because of this, she's made to do penance, and she has to walk from the courtyard into the hall, carrying all the visitors on her back. And she knows she's innocent. And her own husband has subjected her to this. And yet she continues to do this penance, all the while knowing she's innocent, she's sacred. When I was younger and I heard that story, I was filled with the rage of like, why wouldn't she fight back? Why wouldn't she tell them that she was innocent? Why wouldn't she prove it? And in my own initiation into understanding that embodying my truth is not about convincing anyone else. It's about me knowing it, living it, guiding and acting and teaching from this place. not convincing, not defending. It became my own journey with understanding the truth of living with an undefended heart, which I think is another essential aspect of sacred leadership. So I imagine if you are a sacred leader, you might have your own similar journey around understanding that these aspects of embodiment are key to your journey rather than these aspects of the patriarchal way of leadership, which are about doing and pushing and convincing and controlling. And from this new paradigm, or what we might call the divine feminine paradigm of leadership, we're asking ourselves to be so much more open and to allow all of our multifaceted aspects. So yes, we can get things done. Yes, we can invite structure and support as needed, but yes, also to being in this level of embodiment that allows me to make an impact through my vibrational state, which allows me to influence the course of my own life by my beingness, and therefore has an impact in my communities, with my clients, with my students. So thank you so much for letting me share my story, my slightly dramatic but vastly I'm so grateful for this woman who tortured me for 5 years because she was part of this huge initiation into me stepping into owning my holy ground and embodying my truth. And I have found that to be an essential key to living in my capacity as a sacred leader. And I think that as we will get over our small s selves and accept our big S selves, we understand the impact and the power that this being this holy ground can, what it can do in not just your life, but in the world. And I'm so excited for other sacred leaders to be ready to embody their truth and become this holy ground that makes waves. And of course, the waves that I'm speaking of are the cosmic waves, the metaphysical waves of potential and possibility that change the course of the story that humanity is living out. So thank you for watching. Thank you for those of you stepping into leadership this next year with us at the Institute. And thank you to the women who I get to mentor and the women that I will get to mentor as you become your own holy ground. JMO.